What's up, y'all? It's Makeup by Gray here. Welcome back to my makeup course series called It's Just Makeup. I've got my gorgeous model Rome here, and today we are going to do a gorgeous, beautiful, smoky, sultry eye look. I have already done her skin off of camera just to save us a little bit of time, so we're just going to jump straight into it. Alright y'all, so today we're going to just start out by using a little bit of eyeshadow primer. This specific one is from Morphe, and I am applying it with a fluffy blending brush. Gosh, that's such a tongue tire. I can never get that right. But you can use your finger sometimes to apply this. Primer just helps our eyeshadow have something to grip to and adhere to, and it also makes our colors pop and stand out a bit more. So I'm just evening this out and smoothing it along her eye to make sure that it's even. Okay, so the very first shadow that I laid down was from a palette that I had, and I really don't remember the name of this shade, y'all, so just forgive me. But the two main shadow palettes that I used for this look were the Urban Decay Naked Smoky palette and the Huda Beauty Smoky Obsessions palette. So for this particular step, I'm just, oh my gosh, see, this is where, I'm just gonna keep it real. Mistakes happen when you're doing makeup, and I must have grabbed something and had eyeshadow on my hand, and when I touched Rome's face and lifted it, it was there. So, these things happen, but it's okay. We're just gonna pivot, wipe it off, and we're just gonna keep it moving. It's all right. Okay, so we got that wiped off, and I'm gonna make sure that there is no other mishaps and that it's off of my hand so I don't have that happen to me again. But like I was saying before, I just went in with a nice cool tone brown eyeshadow, and it needs to be cool toned or warm toned depending on your complexion. For Rome, because she's pretty fair, I didn't want it to be too red or too orange or too warm, so this is a cool tone brown that I found in the eyeshadow palette that I had, and I'm just using a small detailed brush, and I'm just really emphasizing her crease, and I want the crease to be nice and deep set, so I'm just gonna blend this back and forth in light sweeping motions just to smooth it out. Now I'm coming in with a very large fluffy blending brush, and this one just helps to diffuse the color and blend everything in a little bit more. Sometimes when you use a small detailed brush, depending on the texture of the skin or the primer that you may use, the shadow could skip a bit. So just using a larger brush will help to just smooth and diffuse everything out. Now I'm gonna come in and I'm just gonna hit this outer V area of her eye. The outer V is just the outer corner of your eye, and for this particular eye look, I do want it to have a very nice defined cat eye like shape. So I'm just kind of laying this shadow just right here in this very small corner and blending it up into the crease as well. I'm coming back in with my large not my large blush brush, but my large fluffy brush again. See, I told y'all that word. The word is so hard to say. Just to smooth everything out and make sure that my blending is even. When it comes to smoky eyes, they can be kind of forgiving, especially this particular one, because towards the end, you'll see that I'm gonna add a shimmer color on top, but I do like to just kind of build slowly with smoky eyes. You want to layer them as much as you possibly can so that they have more depth and definition. So now I'm adding in my second tone, and this one is the shade Whiskey from the Urban Decay palette, and this color is so beautiful. It's like a chocolate kind of like brown, and it's not black, but it comes on very, very warm and just sultry, and I love this tone because it doesn't give me a super dramatic look, but it will help me get there. So I'm just blending this out some more, smoothing it all around. I like to use the smaller brush like you just saw me to just place my product, and then I come in afterwards and blend it. That's just kind of like the key when you're laying down eyeshadow. You want to place your product first, and then you want to blend it out. But blending is like the most important part when you're creating an eyeshadow look. I'm just going to smooth it out a little bit more. Okay, so now that I have a blueprint down for what I want to do, I'm going to move on to my second eye look. So this one, we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to start out with our soft, cool tone brown shadow with our detailer brush, and we're just going to go in and define her socket and her crease. As you can tell, I'm using soft circular motions to buff this color into her skin. And I'm not going too low and I'm not going too high. I'm leaving her brow bone clear and naked, and I'm leaving her lid open as well. And we're just going to repeat these steps. Again, working on the outer V and bringing it into the inner socket of the eye. So now I'm coming back in again with my large fluffy blending brush, and I'm going to blend all and merge all the colors together that I just laid down, same as the first eye. With this, you want to use circular motions as well, very light-handedly though. You don't want to be too heavy, because the heavier you are, the more product that you're going to apply, and it just will not make everything look as seamless. So now we're going in with my small application brush, and I'm just packing in that darker whiskey toned eyeshadow and placing it as where I wanted it, which is the outer V and a bit into the crease, defining that shape and mimicking exactly what I did on her other eye. Again, we're going to just buff this in light circular motions as well to merge everything together. I like to start out by, like I said, building before, and in a little bit you'll see that I'm going to go in a little bit bolder, because sometimes when you start out with too much, it's much harder to bring it down and take it away. So the less product you start with, the better chance you give yourself to achieve the look that you really want. So here I'm going to go in a bit bolder. I see that, okay, it's not as smoky as I really want it to be. I'm just going to go for it. So I went in with the fluffy brush and tapped it a bit into the whiskey eyeshadow. And then I just started really buffing that into her crease as well. And I'm going to do the same thing on this eye, making sure that it's even and it's symmetrical to what we've done on her other eye. And this is what I like to call like tweaking and making minor adjustments. You know, like I said, you want to build yourself up and you want to take a look at what you've done and see, okay, where can I add a bit more? Did I put too much? Is my shape correct? Like, what can I do to make any little tweaks and minor adjustments? Typically when doing a smoky eye, you want to do this before you've done your skin, but because, you know, I'm a professional minimalist style, I have minimal fallout, and if you have a great eyeshadow, you'll have minimal fallout as well, but typically if you're doing a smoky eye, you definitely want to do it before you do your skin. Now I'm just cleaning up the brow bone a little bit. I don't normally do this, but on someone as fair as Rome, you can always see lines of demarcation, which are very harsh lines. And to smooth it out and just to keep everything blended and nice and even, I just took a really flush toned color and just swept it over her brow. It does not have any shimmer in it. Let me please note that, because that is very dated. We do not do that anymore. So I just went in with a nice matte, cool tone beige color just to diffuse the brow bone. And now I'm going in and just kind of making more adjustments to the outer corners of the eye, because that's where we're going to build our smoke. That's where our smoke exists. And now this is where our Huda primer, excuse me, not the Huda primer, but the Huda shadow comes into play. I'm going to apply it with my finger. Because sometimes with shimmer, when you use a brush, you just don't get that same effect. It's something about it being warmed up on the skin of a fingertip and then pressing it into the skin that just gives it a much more even application, and you get the true opacity of the color. So I'm just putting this here on her eyelid, and I kind of brought it all the way through. It's not up too high, and it's like a beautiful champagne taupe kind of color. It's gorgeous. Such a pretty color on her. For this particular look, I didn't want it to be an all-over smoky eye. I wanted it to have a bit of a twinkle to it, a bit of jazz and romance to it, and I didn't want it to be super heavy and stark. I wanted it to be very like soft and diffused and just sexy. Like, isn't she stunning, y'all? I can't with her. Like, she's the cutest, and she also has the most beautiful, genuine spirit. She's just gorgeous. So now I'm going in with my same small detail brush, and I'm kind of just diffusing out the lines, making sure that my application was even and that I didn't bring it up too high. And we're just going to do the same thing on this eye. Ooh, look at that color. Oh my God, it is gorgeous. It reminds me of champagne. It's just beautiful. Oh, it's so pretty. Like, look at that, you guys. Oh my gosh. She always models. I love her. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. Now I'm going in, making a few more adjustments, and I'm kind of smoking it out a little bit more. Now I'm just gonna blend underneath the eye, and I don't know why, but I thoroughly enjoy doing this part. I feel like it brings the eye together. And a lot of people really don't blend eyeshadow underneath their eyes when they're doing eyeshadow looks, but you absolutely should. It helps define the shape and it gives it a little bit more of an appeal, in my opinion. And I'm using just a small smudge brush. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. It just needs to be small and detailed enough to fit under the eye and be smooth and comfortable underneath the eye. And I'm just blending the soft brown shadow that we used to lay down the very first transition color. And then I'm gonna build it up as well with the deeper tones of whiskey and then like a soft black shadow just to kind of define it even more. Now I'm going in with that whiskey tone shadow from Urban Decay, and I'm just focusing that on the outer corner as well, kind of stopping it where it starts and stops on the top lid as well. We're going to repeat the same thing here on this eye, starting out with our soft cool tone brown shadow that we laid down first, and then going in with the shade Whiskey on the outer corner. Okay guys, so now I'm going to line her eyes with a bit of eyeliner, and I chose the Maybelline Tattoo Studio white eyeliner, and I chose white because I just wanted a very nice bright contrast. Sometimes I love using white and nude eyeliners as opposed to black because one, it's not as predictable, but two, just adding the white just makes the eyes look so doughy and so flirty, and it makes them brighter and appear more open and awake. So that is why I chose to use white, and I think on Rome it is absolutely stunning. Because she's a fair skin tone, you know, white or nude would look just as good. Now I lined also the top of her eyes with just a black kohl pencil. This one is a mechanical kohl pencil from Kat Von D, and you can just use any black pencil that you have. I prefer gel liner pencils because they just glide the best and give you the best application. I also didn't want my liner to be too thick. I wanted it to be a very thin line. I got it as close to the lash line as possible because I wanted it to just look very natural and soft. I didn't want it to be too heavy on the top because I want the focus to be on the shimmer and the smoke in her crease. So now I'm just smudging it out with a bit of black eyeshadow from the Huda palette. And I'm just making it a little bit more diffused and softer. By doing this, it just helps to blend in our lashes a bit more when we apply them. I feel as though it just gives it a nice smoldering, sultrier kind of look and helps your lashes to blend a bit more when you do apply them and make the band less visible. So now I'm just going to apply a little bit of mascara. This particular one is the Lancome Hypnose mascara. It's a pretty pricey mascara, but it is one of my favorites. It costs about $25 to $30, I believe. I love this one because it's just so jet black and it gives just such a nice, thick, full lash. And that is what I really love about this one so much. And you don't need a lot of it to get the effect that you're going for. She already really does have nice, beautiful, fluffy, long lashes, so I really could have just stopped here. I'm still going to apply a wispy lash on top of these just because I want the look to have a bit more sex appeal and a little more va-va-boom. But she already has stunning, beautiful, full lashes. Okay guys, so I did Rome's brows off of camera because my camera died, just full transparency, and I needed to save a bit of time. And I'll be honest, when I first started doing them, and I put them on, I felt as though I did them a bit too thick. And this happens, you know, sometimes you just get a little carried away, and it can be difficult to kind of scale it back. But I kind of balanced them out by putting on the lash, and I feel like once the lash came on, the look came together. Because her hair is platinum blonde and her brows are already just her natural hair color, sometimes you just have to be careful when you have a very contrasting hair color or haircut, because you don't want it to be too much. But I think with adding the lash, it definitely made it a bit more, it brought it all together. And I mean, I just thought it was just beautiful. She has really nice brows, but they weren't as full as she wanted them to be, so I made them a bit fuller for her. And I used a gel pomade by Anastasia Beverly Hills. Now, when it comes to lashes, I typically always use wispies or something that has that effect, a very flirty, natural effect. I like length, but I don't like them to be too thick, especially at the lash band, because that can just be extremely uncomfortable. I'm using my favorite lash applicator, and you can get this one from any beauty supply store or CVS or Walgreens, and it just helps you to apply the lashes and make it a bit easier for yourself. These lashes are the Studio Effects Wispy style from Ardell, and they are stunning. Like, look at that on her, y'all. She's just so cute. Aww. But I feel like that lash just gave it the pop that it needed. I clearly am entertaining because she's been cracking up this whole time. But I'm just going to go back in with my detail smudge brush again and just do the same exact thing with that matte black eyeshadow from Huda Beauty palette. And I'm just going to kind of blend this in a little bit more to make sure we don't see the lash band and that it looks like her lashes. Okay, you guys, we are in the home stretch here. I am going to just do a little bit of touch-ups because her eyes are complete and we still have got to get a lip on. As I said earlier in the beginning of the video, I did her skin off of camera, but I did not complete it. So I just had her base and her contour applied, but I'm just going to go back in and kind of blot her down and make sure that there's no shine. Her skin was a bit on the oilier side, so while we were filming, a bit of oil kind of came through, but it's okay. So we just went through and blotted it with a bit of the Maybelline Fit Me foundation powder, which is absolutely incredible. I had no idea. This is my first time using it on her, and I freaking loved it. And if you see a creepy guy in the background, that's just my videographer, Joel. We filmed something else extra special that day, and if you just see him pop in and out, just don't mind him. He's not a creep, I swear. So this is one of my favorite tricks to do. So when you want to really get the shape nice and defined and that blown out kind of look of an eyeshadow look on the corners, I like to take a little bit of my foundation powder that matches the tone underneath the skin or the concealer that I use, and I'll just take a flat brush and just kind of sweep it back and forth to kind of define that shape a bit more. So now I'm going in with the Hoola bronzer by Benefit. This is such a good bronzer if your complexion is similar to Rome's. It's got a very nice cool taupe matte tone to it, so it's not too orange or too red. It's the nice pretty like sun-baked color. So I'm just kind of going in and adding a bit more to balance everything out, because our eyes are the focal point. We don't want the skin to do too much, but I still want her skin to pop. So I'm just adding a little bit more contour underneath her jawline and her cheeks, just to make sure that it's very nice and baked and tanned, and just, oh, she's just amazing. Look at that. Gorgeous. I went in with the little blush from Maybelline as well, and this one was a pale pink blush. It is so pretty on her. I rarely get to use colors like this, and I felt like I didn't want the blush to be too much, because sometimes when you do smoky eyes, you don't want there to be too much color on the skin. And if you do, you want it to be very muted and understated, but this blush just woke her face right on up and gave it the perfect amount of color. Next, we're going to go in and apply some lipstick, and I chose the nude 1.5 shade from Kim K, KKW Beauty. If you have not used her nude lipsticks and glosses, let me just say, they are the bomb, okay? Like, this nude shade, I mean, look at it, it's stunning. This just gave this look such an edgy, sexy, editorial look. I did not use any liner. I wanted it to be very like flush to the outer parts of her lip, and it is just so gorgeous, like a very peachy, beigey kind of nude, and it just went so great with her hair color. I just thought it was stunning. Here I'm just kind of blending it out a little bit more with my lip brush, just smoothing out the edges and making sure that it's nice and even. Sometimes with nude lips that have a bit of a satin texture, you have to kind of like blot it a bit. So I just went in with the brush to kind of just make sure that I got it as an even coat all over. Alright you guys, so that is it for this look. I thought it came together so beautifully. Rome is just such a good sport and such a great model. She has the perfect look for this particular eyeshadow look that I wanted to try. I felt like it complemented her spirit, her style, her aesthetic, her hair, everything, and I just thought it was so great. So if you like this, make sure that you share it with your friends and let me know. Comment in our group and let me know how you feel. I want you to try it out. I'm gonna drop a list of all the products that I use, the shades as well, and I cannot wait to see you guys' results. So till next time, make sure you follow me on all social platforms at Makeup by Gray, and I will see you guys next time. Love you. Bye.